which is almost 9,000 feet above sea level. But if it's any consolation, it's always considered to be one of the coolest sports and also one of the most beautiful in the country. I'm not sure if that will be all that receptive in terms of the Brazilians, because they tonight face a real challenge. If they do not win this game, they are out of the Copa América. Now, the record isn't all that distinguished in this competition. They've only won it 4 times. But if you take the degree of criticism that the manager has faced, Carlos Pereira, it would be the ultimate indignity. Indeed, I think his position would be in grave peril if they were to lose this one. Even a draw isn't good enough. It's a very open section, but with Peru having beaten Chile previous to this, they are now sitting on 4 points. They will go through either as the first or second team. For Paraguay, I suppose it's just as straightforward. They could do with a draw here, and I would imagine they're going to play defensively, because one of the players, Ramirez, in defense says Brazil must attack us, and that will suit us down to the ground. And coming from a gentleman playing for a nation which gave to the world the tactic of 4-2-4, Paraguay, adopted strangely by the Brazilians, who went on to win the World Cup after having seen it demonstrated in the Copa América in the 50s. The Paraguayans, I'm sure, will perhaps resort to something more intensely defensive than that, looking for something on the break. That would be my prediction of the style of the game. A great deal of Brazilian attacking. And then we can see a mix of Ecuadorians, Paraguayans and Brazilians. And so a vital one, because the president of the Brazilian Football Association, Ricardo Teixeira, has flown all the way to Cuenca from Brazil, concerned about the performances and stating he cannot understand why the Brazilian Europeans like Dunga, Branco and Careca, who said they were willing to play in this tournament, have not been selected. Well, the Brazilian coach, and I know what it's like for Brazilian coaches to be under the hostility of the press. I witnessed it myself in Italy when the coach there, Lazzaroni, was locked in an embittered struggle with the press. Well, he's saying, as an excuse, the Brazilians cannot do this because of the altitude and we haven't been prepared. We play too much football. So that's the scene set before us. A challenge to a nation renowned for its majestic, magical football. And who could go out of this tournament? The Brazilian press have been giving them fusillades ever since their 2 performances. I have to say that in the game against Chile, for I would say about 75% of the game, they played extremely well. Infinitely better than they did against Peru, but couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And then again showed that they might be lacking in a little bit of character, because when Chile scored a goal, they crumbled. I think that's what the Brazilian president is a little bit concerned about. The fact that if players like Dunga, who doesn't go up all that easily, had been playing, and there had been a bit of that adopted European grit, they wouldn't have crumbled and still be in with a stronger chance than they have now. The Paraguayans played alternatively very defensive football, attacking with gusto and with penetration in the previous games. They beat Chile 1-0, drew with Peru just when it seemed as if Peru had 90% of the play, but couldn't do anything inside the penalty area. But their possession football under their former Yugoslavian coach has obviously paid off. They have qualified. Now, busting away is Monzon, scorer of a goal in that game. This is Gamara, on to Struwe. Well, that looked like the beginnings of a double block there, and the referee got it right. Free kick. Now watch this. I think maybe the 2 of them at fault. And there might have been a dig after that, but certainly to Brazil, the free kick. Well, That's the locals giving rise to the name, Cuenca. And touched forward there by Edmundo. And the goalkeeper losing sight of the ball, and I think Chilavert was angered by that attention by Edmundo. And the referee, as opposed to the Brazilian referee the other night, is doing well to get right in there to try to sort this out. Now, was Edmundo at fault? I don't really think he was. He challenged for the ball, yes, he went over it, but I think he was after the ball. But the referee has brought his notebook out. Almost a mistake there by Cafu, leaving it to Antônio Carlos. And in goal for Brazil tonight, they are introducing Zetti, 22 years of age, who played in the Youth Cup. That very successful one that Brazil won. This is his first appearance for Brazil, but many Brazilian journalists consider him to be the best goalkeeper anyway, so it might be the end of that great goalkeeper, Taparel. So, there's the confirmation of that booking. It's gone against the Paraguay. Free kick to Brazil. Standing right in the middle, César Sampaio. He will try the long one. I wonder if Chilavert got his fingertips to that. Well, yes, they're acknowledging that kind of free kick. That's a better one than they took the other night, and surely Chilavert got a touch, yes. Very good goalkeeper, agile, comes off his line well for dangerous situations, not at all inhibited about leaving his penalty area. Trying a near post one and the free kick. I think César Sampaio had ducked far too low there, making it dangerous. And that is José Luis Chilavert, plays his football in Argentina. A really hardened, experienced professional. The Brazilian team will have right across the back Cafu, one of the most impressive and aggressive performances in this tournament. At number 3, Antônio Carlos, 4, Válber and Roberto Carlos on the other side. That's the 4 at the back. Cafu, Carlos, Válber and Roberto Carlos. Nice attack. Here's Müller trying to chip that in. Corner kick. And this, I think, is the more aggressive Brazil we're seeing tonight. On the far side, Palhinha, headed away there by Gamara. Here's Válber. Neatly touched on to Cafu, and that was done instinctively. He realized that Cafu would be coming up on the outside. Good run forward by Cafu. I think he had tended to come back the way and then got that little nudge through to him, so he found it difficult to retrieve. But by Jove, he does tramp up and down this right wing to effect. Zinho. Cafu again. This is what they're good at, breaking like this. Touched on by Gamara, coming forward at pace. On the far side, Duarte. And now the break. There's a little bit of breathing space for the Brazilians here. Good ball by Palhinha, knocked away though. This is Struwe. They're trying to keep possession as long as possible, but lose it there. And there's the youngster, the new goalkeeper, perhaps trying to establish him for the years ahead. We say that you may see that gentleman in the World Cup very shortly. Another free kick here, though, is going to be taken by Boiadeiro. And coming back eagerly for that Edmundo. And there's a very anxious man on the goal line, Chilavert. Well, already César Sampaio has driven one in. This time it's Roberto Carlos. Oh, that's always an awkward one for a goalkeeper. He kept his eye on it, body right behind it. And if you ever see a goalkeeper at a training session, as the players pepper him with shots, almost in the cruelest way, you might understand why it is so necessary to do it when under pressure. In reality, they have to face shots like that. Oh, I did say he came off his goal line. Well, that time, I think he might just have been a little too clever by half. Watching goalkeepers over this season all over Europe and in British football, I think some of them are perhaps just a shade too willing to show that they have football skills equal of liberos. Still, it brightens up the scene when a goalkeeper tries to trick a player in a penalty area like that. Some of the critics of the pass-back rule are saying goalkeepers, all they do is kick the ball out of touch. Well, you have just witnessed the very opposite of that. That's a goal kick. Or was there a little deflection? Yes, it was. Not sure if that rather surprised Monzon, about to take this corner kick. And perhaps the first test of Zetti in goal. Up he goes! Oh, he needed that. That was 100% commitment, and the youngster might grow in stature after that. He needed that early in the game, and after 10 minutes almost he got it, under pressure, and gets 10 out of 10 for that early examination. Müller charging after this. Perhaps doesn't have the finesse of some of his predecessors, but he is a committed player, and he did score a glorious goal against Chile, so he does have the potential there to cause a bit of damage to this defense. Gives me time to get down the Paraguayan team. They brought in Ramirez and Gamara. Their team, Chilavert number 1, Ramirez 3, Ayala, Suarez at the back, along with Struwe. And in the middle, Gamara, Struwe, Sotelo, Monzon, Cabañas, the 2 goal scorers there. Duarte, who's brought into the side, number 13, and number 18, Nunez. I don't think he's going to get that, no. Good chase, though, by Boiadeiro. Boiadeiro from Cruzeiro. He's just turned 28 years of age. One of the players who might be getting their last opportunity to play in a World Cup final. Well, they'll know what they have to do in this game because of the previous match, and goes all the way through to Zetti. Well, if Carlos Alberto Pereira is right, and they've not had enough time to acclimatise, in this, the third game, you would think physically they're in a much better condition, Brazil. This is one man, Cafu, who didn't seem to suffer in the earlier games. And so far, Paraguay containing them, remaining unruffled. Just looking for the little breakaway, easing, prizing an opening for themselves. Well, giving the ball away like that, well, the youngster's very eager to get on with this. Good tall goalkeeper, 6'1". And I like the look of the way he came out for that first corner kick. Well, they're certainly trying the longer ball more. There was that game they had against Chile. I thought they were very effective when they resorted to almost their traditional style of the quickness of close passing in midfield. Well, I have to say, with about 13 minutes gone, it's a very sloppy game at the moment, the last 5 minutes. Lapses in concentration all round. Well, I thought upended. Well, the Paraguayans digging in very hard. A little bit of trickiness there for Edmundo, not quite coming on. Edmundo from Palmeiras. One of the younger ones. I think we'll see Palmeiras around, Edmundo around for quite some time. It's only 22. Now back it goes to Sampaio. On now to Válber. Válber just inside, can't get it. Válber again. Válber, by the way, passed a late fitness test for this game. He had a thigh strain, but seems to have worked out of it all right. Look at him. Going for the 1-2. There's Müller. Beautiful little touch. Can he put it away? He has glorious goal. Oh, that was typical Brazilian. And fed in by Müller. The crowd absolutely delighted at Brazil having gone up. 14 minutes gone. And just flicked high in the air by Palhinha. And the highest goal scorer in the current Copa Libertadores, Palhinha puts them 1-0 up after 14 minutes. Well, Brazil so far have lacked that deftness. And now the subtlety returns. Beautifully cool, pressurized on both sides. And when you make a goalkeeper look as stranded as that, then clearly it's a goal of the utmost skill. 15 minutes now gone. And that puts a bit of complexion in things for Brazil. Palhinha was substituted in the game against Chile, and I think maybe preserving him because they know he can put the ball in the back of the net. Palhinha, of course, from Sao Paulo, who won the Copa Libertadores, so I think the European audiences will be seeing the man in action against Marseille in Tokyo in the late autumn or early winter when that game is played. And down there went Suarez. Suarez is from Olympia. It really is remarkable that this nation, Paraguay, was such a small population, have won this tournament twice and have developed a lot of thinkers about football. Indeed, when you think of it, the capital, Asuncion, has a population of 700,000, and they have enough football stadia in the city itself. Here's a goal again. That little touch there by Palhinha. beautiful one. They have enough stadia in the city to house half the population in one go. So that shows you the incredible interest in this sport of football for a small nation which has twice won the Copa América. Having taken the lead, Brazil going to squander it with this little hint of arrogance here. We're in the lead and we can do anything we like, which I've seen from Brazilian teams in the past, most notably in Spain. Suarez operating down the left side here. Well, Paraguay are playing for their existence in this tournament now. Paraguay did beat Chile, and they now have 3 points. But if Brazil add to the goal-scoring tally, they'll add up to 3 points as well if they win this match, and so it's all down to goal difference. Palhinha comes back. Nice little bit of support work going on out there in midfield. Well tackled though by Gamara. Gamara from Cerno Porteño, one of the Capitals clubs. Away goes Struwe. I think the referee considering he might have been blocked there. Oh, I think a knee might have gone. It looks to me like Válber. Now remember, I talked about him having an injury and a late fitness test. There's a booking for Struwe for that challenge. Now I wonder if they've realized that Válber did have that fragility about him, because it looks now as if he's going to take no further part. I mean, surely the referee realized that this man was being given a test. Well now, ironic applause for the referee there. And Válber is struggling. Now, does he want to come off? That's the point. Well, they can't afford any passengers in a game like this, Brazil, but here they break. Palhinha, a little bit of a mix-up, but in at the back, a very powerful player there, Núñez. That's a free kick. Well, they're beginning to lay it about a bit, the Paraguayans. That was Zinho there. And the referee waiting until number 6, Gamara, comes up. That's the third booking for the side. Brazil need not only a win, they need goals. Well, that's almost there. Müller, how did he miss it? Brilliant piece of play. A good run there. I am not at all sure if the final ball matched it again. That's a weakness in his play, which we've already noted. He makes superb runs, but some of his final balls into the penalty area lack aggression and precision. That's a little bit of a sandwich. He'll get a free kick out of that. Well, Paraguay have had 3 bookings, so I think the instructions of the coach have been to make this game as physical as possible. I think he's probably detected a little bit of lack of character in Brazil on the basis of the Chilean game, and wants to emphasize the strong physical nature of their side. Well, it's not working so far with that goal by Palhinha in 14 minutes, putting Brazil in the lead. Well, I think you're arguing about the line breakup here. Put down there to number 11. That just touched. Duarte getting that shot in, and that really tested the goalkeeper. Was there a touch? Brilliantly taken. No. Not by the goalkeeper. Deflection from the defensive wall, though. Sonia to the equaliser. One's on with it. Beautifully taken down there by Struwe. Brazil can't get the counter-attack going. Sent back by Nunez. All right through now. Cabañas with a great chance. Cabañas, can he put it away? No. Good defensive work there by César Sampaio. Really crowded him out of the penalty area. Well, you may recall Cabañas scoring a glorious goal against Chile. Very ferocious strike. Müller going for this. Going to the line, and he's touched there. There's no doubt about that. Now, what's been given? Oh, a shake of the head. Oh, he was pushed. Distinctly pushed. Well, he got a penalty out of his last run in the game against Peru, which I thought at first wasn't a penalty. Then when they very kindly got the television detective on the job, I could see it was. I think the referee was wrong there. That's a free kick. Now, this could be very interesting indeed. And out comes the card against Cafu. Now 4 bookings altogether. That was purely accidental. I do wish referees could distinguish between those things which happen out of the blue like that and those which are premeditated. In any case, free kick. I make it 24 minutes gone. Cabañas with it, brilliantly saved. And down goes Cabañas in something like exasperation. He struck that so well. Well, I think the Brazilian journalists are right. Maybe Tafarel would have got to that, but this fellow, Zetti, showing an athleticism which I think will stand this defence in very good stead. Indeed, the Brazilian manager was saying before the game that although Válber was injured, there's that little ball through there, and the goal again, scored by Palhinha, that was in the 14th minute. The Brazilian manager was in effect saying he wanted to keep exactly the same defence to help the youngster in goal. And that seems to have done that. Válber has still stayed on the field. Will that be a free kick again? Oh, they're squaring up to each other now. And 6'2" of an icicle there, I think you could call Antonio Carlos. He just plays in that imperturbable way throughout a game. Flicked in by Sotelo. Brought down there by César Sampaio. Now, without being entirely fluid and brilliant, this is nevertheless a much more competent Brazilian performance. And they do, in fact, look fresher and reinvigorated. Talking to a prominent Brazilian who's been with the team, the Brazilian teams over the years, Peter Pullen, who considers this a third team. Breaking away is Cabanas, lays it wide right. Up comes Sotelo, and the shot there by Struwe, not at all good. Nunez, all day running forward to it. Well, Peter Pullen, a good friend of mine from the Brazilian delegation in the years, would not rank this team very highly. Third grade, I suppose, and yes, he's absolutely right. But nevertheless, the Brazilians are wearing a very famous color of jersey, and they've got to get on with it, maintain the traditions. Müller hesitated slightly. Now up comes Cafu. Free kick. Big crowd in the Cuenca Stadium. Stadia Alejandro Serrano. And full to capacity at 25,000. The Brazilians, always an attractive option. That looked like a double block. Perpetrated there by Boiadeiro. Well, the man about to take this, Nunez, doesn't believe in touching up, does he? It is top notch. Bit of an untidy clamber in the air there by Sotelo, and Válber walking across. I think there might have been a bit of cramp. Now, I've watched the Brazilians training so often through the years, and it really is a remarkable thing. Renowned for their concentrated and rhythmic training in unison, but even more than that, I remember watching the famous Socrates stretching. He stretched for a full half hour, getting the assistance of a physiotherapist, stretching his muscles in the most amazing way. Full half hour before training, and that's a corner kick. 15 minutes to go of this first half, still 1-0 to Brazil. They get the corner there, and that stretching, of course, is to aid elasticity, to ensure that they can move around the field unencumbered, and it seems to have worked through the years. Palhinha. Roberto Carlos. And well watched over there by Ramirez. The Paraguayans looked very useful against Chile, but at the same time they could have lost that game. They were on the edge all the time. And then they played in a disappointing game against Peru. Gave away possession so much and yet managed to snatch a goal. They get the free kick here. I think they're indicating the defensive wall isn't far enough away, but they tried the long one. Cafu controlled that very well under pressure. And there's a little bit on there, and this goalkeeper getting it there from Monzon as he went forward. And he's looking very cool, no doubt about that. Neat little header though. Just touched over, I think. Well, Brazil might get a free kick out of this. Indeed they are. So with about 13 minutes remaining of the first half, in come most of the Brazilians for this. Headed up in the air though by Suarez. And almost away into the crowd. Remember, the Brazilians have been complaining about altitude. They're almost 9,000 feet above sea level. None of the Brazilians used to that. Nice turn round by Palhinha. And Müller is being very well covered indeed. Either Ramirez, who's trying to pick him up, or Ayala coming in at the back. Nunez. Suarez breaking on the left again, as he did from the start. Notice the two Brazilians going with him. Well, I'm sure the Brazilian coach has been somewhat comforted by this performance by Brazil tonight. Müller goes away, gets that break. He was caught offside so often in a game against Peru. Ooh, that should have been laid off to Cafu coming up. Edmundo could not see him on the right. And there's another booking as down went Cabañas, coming way back deep. Well, they're coming fast and thick. That is now the fifth booking. Nunez came forward. Antônio Carlos getting the yellow card. Well, I did describe him as a rather elegant player, and so he has been, but he can put the boot in when he wants. Now, the goalkeeper again, very cool. And he gets protection from the referee. When at far side, Palhinha putting it back. 10 minutes to half-time. And every now and again, Paraguay indicate that they could get through this Brazilian defense. Touch back there by Sampaio. And Válber seems to have recovered entirely, doesn't he? That was him in that little burst there. Müller lays it off. Palhinha trying to get him with a shot. Doesn't bother Chilavert in the slightest. And of course a draw would do Paraguay. Let me remind you about that again. Because of the groupings, if they got a goal and it ended 1-1, Brazil would be out of the competition. I think Brazil are now pacing themselves. Palhinha goes after it. I think Palhinha is a much better penalty box player than he is just outside the box. We've already seen the deftness by which he scored that goal. And I think if he was getting a lot of service going in beside Müller, Müller laying it off to him, he'd score even more. But outside of that, he's been playing down the left and not all that effectively. Cafu. Real Madrid, I think, want this player, and you can understand why. Antonio Carlos. Over on that far side, Válber putting an end to Zinho. Zinho forward, again losing possession. Certainly not the tidiest part of the game. Now that's as long a ball as we've had in the last 10 minutes. It's all been short passing. Well, that might be a corner kick. Or has the referee decided on the free kick? I think on the challenge, yes. Well, Taffarel, I think, might be replaced permanently by this young man. Taffarel is really booked under the Brazilian Football Association now, largely because he's out of contract with Parma, with whom he did not play in the Cup Winners' Cup final at Wembley. So at the moment he's something of a displaced person, and most certainly is in the Brazilian goal tonight. But this young fellow has played extremely well. Hands, and looked deliberate to me. There must have been something snapped out, and a kind of apologetic look there by Nunez towards the referee. Monzon had broken clear, but always marked off by Antonio Carlos. That'll be a free kick, I think, and I believe number 8 is going to get it this time. Taking his time about that. Sotelo it was, number 8. In it comes from Nunez. A little bit too much curl in that, though. And watch this here, deliberate handling. Yes, pushed that ball away, Sotelo. Six bookings in all. Well, they're certainly taking their time about it on that far side. Struwe. And Edmundo can't get going. And I wonder, well, it's one we can ponder over halftime. I wonder if Brazil are pacing themselves and are only going to attack with any great aggression spasmodically through this game, or whether they're now feeling the effects of that altitude that they always complain about. If so, then they have a very long second half in front of them. It's going to be something of an agony. And just at this moment, you get the impression that Paraguay are in a better condition. A bit of wrestling there, and it will always go against the attacker, as it does then. Free kick. I make it, we're in the last 4 minutes of this first half. It's long and high and flies through the thin air with the greatest of ease. And Paraguay certainly seeing a lot more of the ball now. It looks like a pushing once on now. Müller with a great chance. He takes the goalkeeper wide. Can he chip it in now? It's played out to Palhinha. What a miss. Still not clear. Over it goes on the far side, Edmundo. Oh, they've missed a glorious chance. And Edmundo fighting hard for that, and that would surely have buried Paraguay. And the fault is Müller's. I've already said he's not as Brazilian as we would like to see a front man in that yellow jersey. He's more a rampaging kind of traditional European centre-forward. And had that fallen to Palhinha, I think that would have been number 2 originally, although it was squared across to him. There was a better cover by then. And Müller may yet bitterly regret that miss. Cafu. Neatly touched on there by Nunez. Well, they look very calm and composed, the Paraguayans. Damara, Nunez, Sotelo, Suarez. They want the Brazilians to come out at them. All bunching in midfield. Picked up there by Struwe. Have it in there by Ayala. And most of the possession is Paraguay's. Brazil on the break, and Müller was always going to be offside there. Yes, he does lack that little touch of finesse. I thought for a moment he might have tried to chip the goalkeeper. It's deep, another wrestle in the penalty area there. I think the referee, considering that Cabañas is backing in all the time to Antônio Carlos, and he's certainly getting the benefit of the doubt. Woohoo. I think Edmundo was after body as well there. Well, now, there's the coolness of Chilibet at the back, but he gives it away, too clever by half. And a bad ball by Palhinha. I mean, if he'd really looked up there, and he did have just that moment to look up, he would have seen that Müller was a bit nearer him than that. Well, that's a simple little way by Zetti, getting it away. Not just as complicated as the goalkeeper at the other end about that. And we're now into stoppage time of this first half, which has belonged to Brazil just. Now then, again they didn't have that little snap in their drive forward. Well, there's a lot of wrestling going off the ball, and Cabaña is really incensed about all this. There goes the halftime whistle. Referee bringing that to an end, and Nunez is asking him about some of the Brazilian tackling. That was Müller and his miss. He did that well enough. And there was Palhinha. Well, let me take back a little what I said about Palhinha. He should have scored as well. Okay, he had a defender converging on him. And when you consider Palhinha's first goal and the coolness by which he scored that, then that's rather surprising. He could only drive it against the defender's body. And a very rueful Paraguayan coaching background team going off there, wondering what to do about this. It was there I thought he might have gone for a chip to the far post, because Edmundo was coming in there as well. And as a result, only one goal in this first half. It is to Brazil. They remain favourites to go through to the quarterfinals. If you've been watching our program, you probably saw the highlights there of the game played prior to this, in which Chile were beaten by Peru by 1-0, which means Peru qualify automatically. They've got 4 points. Brazil, if they were beaten by Paraguay, Paraguay would be up on the same 4-point mark as Peru, and that would come down to goal difference. Now, if it stays the way it's staying at the moment, it means Brazil get 3 points. They've got 3 goals for, 3 against, as opposed to Paraguay, who have 2 goals for, 2 against, which would mean that Brazil would go through because of the high number of goals scored. It's a very, very narrow situation. I don't think that Brazil will want to leave it to as much chance as that. So they're looking for goals. Now, I did make the point at the end of the first half, or ponder the question, whether Brazil were being affected by altitude again and had lost their drive and momentum that they had clearly shown in the first 25 minutes, or whether they were pacing themselves. We shall see, as Müller waited for that. Very well headed away there by Ramirez in defence, who's been a real stalwart. Brazil almost tiptoeing his way through Edmundo. Because in the last 15 minutes, we saw precious little of Brazil in that first half, and a lot of possession by Paraguay. Free kick. On that far side, Roberto, Antônio Carlos had come forward, given it to Boiadeiro, and Boiadeiro went down. Now that was a rather nasty tackle from that low angle. Müller all on his own in the penalty area. Müller from Sao Paulo had a couple of World Cup experiences, 86, 90, none of them entirely happy, or neither of them, but did have experience of Italian football and is very much a Brazilian European, although now playing in Brazilian football. Well, that's a better run by Müller. I think he might just have been onside too. Now, if you recollect, and if you watched our game, Brazil against Peru, he was caught offside. We counted it later on, no fewer than 8 times, and the single player Müller was. And he simply didn't seem to have the nose to get out of that. Edmundo almost setting off after that. There he is again. Good defensive play by Suarez. And of course, I also brought up that subject, which I think is part of the controversy going on in the Brazilian camp, where the president of the Brazilian FA has come to Cuenca to ask directly, why didn't you pick the Europeans, Dunga, Branco, Careca, who apparently were willing to play in this tournament? Although I do sympathise with the Brazilian manager, an almost impossible task he has. Players are away abroad. He could pick a team from the foreigners to do very well in this tournament. He has the different district federations to look after, with real jealousies between each other, and from all of that he is to produce a national side. And when he does, he's got the press hovering above him like carrion crows. Neat Tony by Cabanas. He did very well there. Yes, I do get the impression that the Paraguayans are in better condition here. Oh, just breaks. Monzon was trying to come in and it just broke away from him. That's the goal kick. A complaint there by Sotelo, who's already been booked in this game, by the way, and had better stop with the verbiage. Well, they seem composed enough. Paraguayans noted for the heaviness of the defeats at the hands of the Brazilians. They've only had 4 victories over Brazil in 80 years. And in the first few games, they were really taken apart 3 times, almost double figures, but it's a different ball game nowadays. Nicely swept up by Válber, the man who had to pass a very late fitness test before being selected. Just about getting forward to Zinho. And have the Brazilians lost their sparkle yet again? More drive, clearly more drive off the Paraguayan side. Duarte. And it goes to Struwe. Now Gamara. Ooh, that was beat down beautifully in the direction of Cabañas. And certainly Paraguay, who might have started off with the impression that they could easily defend, not so much easily defend, but concentrate on defense against Brazil, are now having to push forward as much as possible. Because at this stage, at this juncture, they could be out of the competition. Oh, almost a neat little turn there by Edmundo. On now to Boiadeiro. There's offside, I think, yes. And part of the crowd in the background, 22,000 in to see this game. Just caught offside. This defense playing that extremely well. But if Paraguay keep going on the way they are, winning balls in midfield like that, getting it forward to front runners like Cabañas and Monzon, I think a goal will come their way. And that might be the end of Brazil. So they badly need a game, because I think they are tiring. They badly need a goal in this first 15 minutes, I think, Brazil. That would help their cause enormously. And superb play by Núñez. Almost running half the length of the park to get back there. Not giving up at all. Sotelo. Beautiful play again by Antônio Carlos. When I did say he had that kind of icicle quality about him and he was very elegant, that does not mean he is a dainty in the way he handles players. He can be physical when it's necessary, as witness the booking he's already had. We've had 6 bookings in this game. There is the man I'm talking about, Antônio Carlos. Very good run forward by Edmundo. Can he get into the box? Drive back there to Müller. Müller with it. Tries a little chip. Oh, so near. Well, I wonder if we can fault Müller for this. We'll get a shot from behind the goal now. Good run by Edmundo. There's a little deflection now. Watch that, Müller. Well, no, he did try for that top corner and not quite coming off. But Brazil badly needed it there. Hands, deliberate. Will the referee take action? If he does, Sotelo is off the field, and wisely he doesn't. Giving you an indication of the clarity and the freshness of the air with the goalkeeper there, Zetti, wearing these track trousers. Headed on by Ayala. Ayala and Ramirez. Ramirez right in the middle of the defense. Very, very good indeed. Now this to break away. And he couldn't bring it down. Out it goes. I make it 10 minutes gone of this second half. The figure of Duarte. Andres Duarte again from Cerro Porteña. Duarte puts it in. Almost a little bit short there. Now they're getting the ball forward. That's a good run. Headed away though by Válber, who had come back. And now they're really under pressure, Brazil. That's the free kick again, Antonio Carlos. Now the Paraguay's not at all happy about that. Antonio Carlos has already been booked. And the tackles are now crunching in on either side. That was Müller getting it. Takes a lot to bring him down. That's a little bit slack. It's, I think, gone out, yes. On the far side is Núñez. Gamara number 6 there. Has seen a lot of the ball in this second half. Rather rueful Brazilian group now. Cafu going in very strongly. Well, a big problem that South American football has to face is the difference in class and quality normally between Brazil, Uruguay and Argentina, the big three, and the rest of the teams. But in this tournament, there has been, I suppose, a great leveler, and that has been altitude. It has significantly helped Ecuador, the home nation, although they have played some great football. Now, what's going on here? It may well be that Núñez has a cut, and FIFA regulations make it quite clear that they must go off and have, if there is blood showing, they must go off and have it tended to. He's wanting him to go off anyway, and that surely must be it. He was very reluctant to leave the field. All picked up well, and I think a free kick. Wow, surely. Free kick to Paraguay, turns out. There he is, Núñez. Yurio Núñez. Well, only 2 or 3 times has his goalkeeper, Zetti, been really tested in this match. The pace, though, inexorably slowing. And that's a free kick. Number 13, Duarte, took him very late indeed. Palhinha, the goal scorer. Back goes Chilabert to the goal. And apart from picking the ball out of the net and a couple of saves early on in the game, we haven't seen him all that much. That was meant for Müller. Just gets his toe to that again. Can he lay it off? And that Paraguayan defense bunched very well. Müller wants a 1-2. It doesn't come accurately enough. Little bit of zip in the play now of Brazil. Well, that won't do, and this time it's Válber doing a bit of sweeping up. Well, there have been so many instances of Brazilian players simply hitting the ball against an opponent like that. I think it's an indication of the lack of sharpness. Back goes Ramirez. And once again, gilding the lily there by the goalkeeper. Just a little bit extravagant in the way he wants to clear it. Palhinha goes for a 1-2. Oh, that was desperately unlucky. And wasn't that just a little hint of the old Brazil? That quick rat-a-tat of 1-2s on the edge of the box. And then the piercing run in didn't quite come off. 15 minutes gone of the second half. Still 1-0. Now Paraguay gave the early indication in this half they would drive forward a bit more, but I do think they are tiring as well. The conservation of energy at this height, remember 9,000 feet above sea level, is of prime importance. Palhinha is inside Edmundo. Now that was a bad ball, needed a little bit touch on it, it's in! A deflection! Oh, that must go down as a known goal. Gilbert desperately unlucky, although Edmundo is claiming that. With almost 16 minutes gone, that surely was driven in there. It was hooked back, and there was a little deflection by, right into the back of the net. Looked to me like Barrios. It was indeed Barrios. You cannot really credit Edmundo with that. It is now 2-0, and that might just conceivably clinch a place in the quarterfinals. Edmundo, nevertheless, delighted by that. So, who goes down in the score sheet? One of these endlessly debatable matters amongst journalists. All the running was done by Edmundo. But I think Ramirez's name will go in the sheet. Well, that should do it. Another goal now and they would be assured of a place. Came at the right time for them as well. I did say a goal in the first 15 minutes would be invaluable for them because they were tiring. Well, they made me wrong by about 45 seconds. And now they can play with a bit more comfort. Now they certainly do have the ability to keep possession like this. I don't think we'll be watching a Brazilian team going after a cricket score or anything like that, but I think they'll work patiently for a third. And now the Paraguayans, they've been affected not just by altitude, but that desperately unlucky goal. I've liked the play of Nunez at left back there. He's been very, very steady, very tough, and also very fair. He seems to be a bit of a diplomat. When there's any trouble, he comes across, talks to the referee. We might be getting some substitutions in just a moment. That's a free kick, I think. No, quickly the referee waving play on. Brought down there by Sotelo. Well, that will do the Brazilian defense all right. César, Sampaio. This is Brazil, Luisinho from Vasco da Gama. Just doing a little bit of limbering up. And I've seen them doing this all together, all 22 Brazilian players in different World Cups, skipping up and down like that to samba beats by the supporters who always turn up to the training sessions. Well, I suppose commentators tempt Providence all the time. I know I've done it in this tournament by thinking one of the games would end in a goalless draw, and up came a marvellous goal. But at this stage, I must say, Paraguay looked like a beaten side. Palhinha. Now we have César Sampaio. That's beautifully put through. Going to be touched around the goalkeeper now. I think that is a very good decision. The goalkeeper committed himself. Cafu went in. And really he ought to have done better than that. It was flicked right through. Brilliant little run there. And the goalkeeper certainly committed himself to it. Watch Cafu's run through here. Oh well. That tells a somewhat different story. The goalkeeper simply seemed to stand there. I really do think that Cafu, whose finishing qualities are a bit dubious, ought to have done slightly better than that, either cutting it back or shooting at goal, but laying it so far wide, he was never going to get that ball, even if he had got round the goalkeeper. Getting substitutions about to come on. Gonzalez. Gonzalez for Paraguay. Very deep, headed away by Duarte, who's now beginning to lie much deeper. Well, that goal would certainly have killed off the game. And Paraguay have nothing to offer at the moment. Free kick as César Sampaio goes in rather crudely now. Are they going to go back a little bit more in defence, Brazil? It's a very slack ball indeed. I think the problems of altitude induce carelessness apart from anything else, which springs from lack of real muscular control. Oh, great play. Antônio Carlos. Yes, he's one to reckon with for the future. Still a long way in front of him, and at the age of 26, you'll certainly see him in the United States. And now this substitution, which was coming up, Luisinho is now coming on for Boiadeiro. Now the rush through. Well, they're not getting the ball through to the two men who matter most, Cabanas and Monzon, who scored in the previous games. It's all dried up for them. Brazil get a free kick out of that. That's the confirmation of Luisinho. Little spot there by Ayala on the far side to Núñez. Well, Paraguay forcibly reinforced the impression they were a counter-attack team, very much so. When they were playing against Peru, that looked like a hand to me, and it was free kick. Very much a counter-attacking team, and I think that's so very deep in their nature. They're finding it to come forward consistently and pressurize this Brazilian defense. Their nature is to be back at the halfway line and make the quick breaks with the two men up front. And that simply isn't happening because the service is not getting through to them, and we have 20 minutes of the game remaining. So Brazil have one goal of an advantage on Paraguay at this stage. A goal by Paraguay would somewhat complicate things. Said Brazil have scored more. Zinho, Palhinha, yes! Palhinha, right out of the Brazilian textbook. And that surely puts Brazil well out of sight of the opposition. Glorious control by Zinho. And then watch this on the drop. From one to the other, they knew exactly what they were doing this time. All credit to Zinho, but look at that finish. You perhaps can recall that miss by Palhinha in the first half when a defender got in his way. I think he learned his lesson from that. Well, we've seen so many great Brazilian players in the past scoring like that. Zico, Garrincha, Pele, Careca, Bebeto. It's almost as if the Brazilians unleash an innate fury when they're striking the ball like that. And that is then well and truly in the quarterfinals if it stays like this, of course. And I think it will. They have tired, but what they have done is been much more effective in that area near the penalty area. You've just seen evidence of it. But once or twice in this half, they've almost broken down this defence that same kind of way. Looks like a little jigging going on there by Edílson from Palmeiras. Well, I trust the presidential plane has made a useful journey. I'm referring to the Brazilian FA president, Ricardo Teixeira, watching this game, who's hustled all the way up to ask the question, what in the name of heaven is going on here and why aren't the Europeans playing? Well, the 11 players on the field tonight, or 12 with a substitution, have given the president the answer. Couple of goals now by Palhinha. And I'm reluctant to give the second one to Edmundo. I'd give it to Ramirez. Well, they'll be cautious. Seem to be in the mood, though. That's offside. Ooh, Válber says, why? How? Good break by Válber. Válber, let me repeat, just passed a late fitness test to play in this game. There's his break. Not all that far away from being onside. Well, substitution being made as Sotelo does come off, and so also does Palhinha, the double goal scorer, getting a rest. We will be seeing Palhinha all right in this tournament. Make no mistake about that. Further on. 15 minutes to go. Well, there's a little break spot there. Strube tried Nunez trying to break forward there. I do believe that there is now a relaxed mood in the Brazilian camp. Well, Peru are on 4 points, so it'll all come down to goal difference. Goalkeeper there said an excellent night. Not called upon to do all that much, but when he did it, it was done competently with a good pair of hands. He's got the height, he's got the physique, but you've also got to have a safe pair of hands, and he's got that. So all in all, the composition of a very good player. Just touch back, and in goes Nunez. Hard man. You might call him the Franco Baresi of this team. Certainly doesn't mess about, and he took out Roberto Carlos there. Well, I actually think Carlos went for him. And he took on Paraguay's Iron Man. Watch this. Carlos got the worst of that, and they say in football, if you go in half-heartedly, if you're drawing back out again of something you've really committed yourself to, you'll get the injury. And that's what I think happened to the Brazilian. Seemed to draw back just a little. Now then, as we watch this recovery, the Group B is quite complicated. The mathematicians will need to be in position. Jara coming on for Sotelo, by the way, or Yara. Yara, number 14. Brazil have now scored 4 goals in the tournament. I beg your pardon, they've now scored 5 goals in the tournament altogether. They scored 2 against Chile. They've now scored 3 here. Ooh, that's almost caught this time. Well, he's been a little too clever by half, and in the past, and I think Edmundo really took it and rocketed right into him. Really let fly. Ooh, I think that was a solar plexus. I think he might be talking with a rather squeaky voice for the next day or two. Well, as I was saying, in this statistical jungle that we've got ourselves into in this group, Brazil have scored 5 goals. They've had 3 scored against them. Now, as things stand at the moment, Paraguay are really out of this, as Müller is offside. So we can discount them if it stays the way it stays. Now, Peru have scored 3 goals. And have had 2 scored against them. An advantage of 1. Brazil an advantage of 2. And although Peru have these 4 points, Brazil coming up there, they won this game, and they of course, were beaten by Chile. So they get 3 points. They will be in second place. So Brazil, you see, had to come out and win this game. Paraguay had the possibility of being up there with Peru. And almost busting through there, Duarte trying to get right into the penalty area. So if things stay as they are, Peru will be the leader, Brazil second, Paraguay third. And I now make it 10 minutes remaining of this game. And quite frankly, I don't see much of a change coming up in it. On to the outside. And the goalkeeper should get that. That was Duarte. Well, the Brazilians have timed the effort admirably in this game. I didn't think they were weakening at the end of the first half, but did get these vital goals, and look how well they took them. It didn't require all that much effort near the edge of the penalty area. And history has been against Paraguay tonight. Only beaten Brazil 4 times in 80 years. And taken a lot of hammerings in that time as well. Bring forward to Duarte. Duarte, as I said, has pulled further back since the substitute Gonzalez and Yara have come on. And all the Brazilians are now doing is leaving Edmundo and Müller up front. Edílson now on number 19. He came on as that substitution was made for Paraguay of Yara. So also Palhinha went off. And on came Edílson. Now the goalkeeper, as I said, Chilavert, likes to come out of his goal occasionally. Nicely taken and played inside, as I said, Müller and Edmundo up front. Getting himself into a knot there was Roberto Carlos. Helped out though by Válber. Oh, they better play. That was Edílson. Well, was a hand used there? No, referee doesn't think so. And Müller again got offside. Oh no, that was Edílson who had come forward. Well, that looks like a free kick, indeed it is. While Brazil, finishing second in Group B, will play the second in Group C. Was that a free kick? No, not given. Well, we've already got in prospect a game between Argentina and Uruguay, and now coming up is Brazil-Colombia. Succulent dishes to set before a world audience. Long and high and through to an anxious goalkeeper, really wanting to get on with this. I think about 4 minutes left. Brazil now comfortably easing themselves into the quarterfinals. And I think the Paraguayan delegation realizing they're now out of this. Peru will have to wait to see who the third best team is. Could conceivably be Paraguay, of course. That's a free kick, and I think a booking. And it's a red card. Oh, what a pity there. And the Brazilian players are complaining about that as César Sampaio goes off. A downcast, crestfallen player. What a pity. I make it to 3 minutes of the game remaining. And he's very reluctant to leave. You can hardly believe that. Well, I wonder if we'll get a replay. And the referee is having nothing to do with him. I think he's trying to go and explain that really it was not all that bad. But off he goes. Pity we're not getting a replay of this yet. This is going to be taken by Duarte. He's getting some sympathetic applause as he goes off. We already saw a couple of players off in that Argentina-Colombia game. No real test. He's had a fairly comfortable night of it, just watching the play more than anything else. Now picked up here by Struwe. The Brazilians, I think, did very well to shake off the impression that they were a little bit weary, getting these excellent goals in the second half, particularly that third one by Palhinha. And look at this man, our greatest admiration for Nunez. He's been all over the field. For long spells he was playing on the left side of the fence, and now look at him going down the right in attack. And can Brazil now, with about 30 seconds to go, there will be stoppage time, by my watch, that is, that calculation. Can they hold on to this 3-0 lead? Referee has occasionally been looking down at his watch. Well, I must say I feel pleased for the coach Carlos Alberto Pereira. He's coming up to his 50th year as the final whistle goes. I think he may have aged a little over these past couple of games. A disappointment against Peru. An uncharacteristic Brazilian performance altogether. You would not have recognized them from the pedigree they're set against. Then I thought a bit unfortunate to lose that other game against Chile by 3-2 when he played so well. And now touches of the true Brazilians in the play, particularly of Palhinha from Sao Paulo, the top goal scorer in the Copa Libertadores, who scored a couple. He scored in the previous tournament a couple of years ago, obviously, but scoring 2 vital goals tonight, putting Brazil through to the quarterfinals. Some interesting games to come there. Star players for Paraguay, well, there's one man I pick out for sheer effort. That was number 18, Núñez. Núñez, not a skillful player, but the kind of man you want in your team to try to drive you forward, but it didn't come off for them. They were ultimately very disappointing. Paraguay, basically a counter-attacking team. They couldn't rise to the challenge after there were 2 goals down. And here is the goal that mattered. Edmundo driving it in like that. And up Ramirez into the back of the net. That did it. Brazil through to the quarterfinals, all of which, of course, you can see here live on Eurosport.